We thought the case of Maccabi Tel Aviv football hooligans, who were banned from attending the Aston Villa game on the 6th of November last year, was over. But pro-Israel group, the Jewish Board of Deputies, have been trying to reopen the case and have accused the West Midlands Police of appeasement after they admitted that they were also worried about violence from people within the UK. West Midlands Police have been accused of appeasement after they admitted that they banned Israeli football fans from Birmingham because they feared sections of the community would attack them. The admission comes as new documents revealed that there were concerns that community groups in Birmingham may arm themselves. The new documents, which detail the minutes from safety advisory group meetings on the reasons behind the ban, show that the assessment made by the police was changed late to downgrade the risk to Maccabi fans to medium and upgrade the risk to people in the local community to high. Conservative MP for West Suffolk and one of the vice chairs for Conservative Friends of Israel, Nick Timothy, released a statement and tweeted, "The police fixed intelligence to ban Israelis from Villa Park as demanded by Islamists. The police received a report written by the Amsterdam mayor about violence when Ajax played Maccabi Tel Aviv in 2024. It's been kept secret. Lord Austin and I want it published." I'm not surprised that Lord Austin is involved with this. He also appeared on GB News.
We do know that there is an issue in different parts of the country when it comes to the way the police handle, what they think of as community leaders, representing minority interests. Quite often that's with the Muslim population in mind. So we've already seen the stories about and all the evidence mounting about the rape gangs and the failure of the police and others to intervene and to prosecute the perpetrators of those terrible crimes. We've seen examples of blasphemy laws effectively creeping in through the back door because the authorities won't prosecute people who make threats of violence against people who have criticised their religious beliefs or said things that they deemed to be offensive or blasphemous. And in this case, we basically had the mob, sometimes represented by irresponsible local MPs or councillors, but the mob saying we're not prepared to have Israelis come to the city we live in.
The mob. Look, I wouldn't be caught dead defending Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. They are violent hooligans who chant rape songs. They chant rape songs. I would not be going on TV and saying, well, we want Israelis to come over here. We want these thugs to come over here. But for Timothy, it's clearly a proxy to support Israel. As with many Zionist politicians, they seemingly care more about Israel than the UK. A quick search shows Timothy has mentioned Israel far more times than West Suffolk. So you can see, based on search of Nick Timothy's posts, the account has mentioned West Suffolk, or close variations, in about 13 posts, and Israel in about 51 posts. Now, the BOD released a statement and has called for the Chief Constable to resign. We are calling for West Midlands Police Chief Constable to go, and of course they've got a long statement. We're not going to read it out. Now, for the right wing, this has been spun to support this narrative of the enemy within, that the police are working or have been captured by Islamists. The West Midlands police debacle needs to be the death knell of multiculturalism, the actions of a state that is totally suicidal, happy to capitulate to sectarian racists who want to destroy it, run by gormless, useful idiots. Enough! And that's Tom Slater from Spiked, which is really ironic since our media and politicians are supportive of Israel, a foreign state, over the British people. Yet from this video, we can see that the West Midlands Police wanted to host Maccabi Tel Aviv, even considering using a local stadium in Warsaw. It was only until they received evidence from Dutch police that Tel Aviv fans were dangerous.
West Midlands Police looked at an option to use a local football ground to try and do something. So I think it was clear that from the initial point up until the point of the Dutch intelligence, the plan was to host the fans. I think the tipping point is referred to there. It's the Dutch intelligence where there's clearly a shift.
So the right-wing media are jumping all over this to basically say that multiculturalism has failed and that there are sectarian communities in this country. And what they mean by that is Muslims are sectarian in their beliefs and they're trying to link it towards Palestine. They care about Palestine more than Britain, whilst being completely unaware that the right wing, the media, most politicians, right, are the most sectarian in their political beliefs because they support the state of Israel over the British people. Now, West Midlands Police made a decision. They literally made a decision not to have Maccabi Tel Aviv fans come to this country based on evidence from the Dutch police and other people that they're violent. And again, we've covered this many times before. They literally chant rape songs. They've been known to be violent thugs and to seek out people and beat them up. And the West Midlands Police are protecting Britain. They're protecting the British people by saying, we don't want foreign thugs coming over here. Isn't that ironic that the right wing, they care about borders, they care about keeping immigration down because they love to moan about the violent immigrants. We don't want to bring more immigrants to this country. If British people are violent, why do you want to bring more violent immigrants in, right? That's their entire shtick. And yet now they're defending violent people who aren't from the UK above those who are born and live here. Very funny that, isn't it? Kevin, what do you make of, before we talk about, the border deputies and basically the Zionists, what do you make of the police not sort of mentioning the supposed threat of local communities? What do you think they were trying to do here?
I mean, the wrong thing, as is so often the case with West Midlands Police and indeed policing more generally. But it's so obviously the case that this is a kind of drummed up nonsense of a story from start to finish. I literally said at the day that the fixtures were drawn by UEFA in Switzerland for this competition, the UEFA Cup, or the Europa League as it's now called, that if Maccabi Tel Aviv turned up in Birmingham, there was likelihood of loss of life. I literally said that the very night it happened. This was not something you needed massive amounts of intelligence for, because when you have people with a known violent track record, like Maccabi Tel Aviv, who, as was mentioned in your package there, rioted in Amsterdam when they played Ajax, of course, rioted in Greece the year before that, and this year rioted in Germany as well. And indeed were censured for singing Nazi songs in Germany. Yeah, they far-righted the far right of Germany, which should tell you something about the nature of modern Israeli society, unfortunately. Anyway, the police just hid a piece of useless information. Of course, it was going to be likely that local members of the community were going to want to seek, let's say, direct redress of direct insult. If violent people turn up in your streets, you defend your streets. That's not a new thing. That shouldn't be a surprising thing. It's not a thing that's exclusive to Muslims. It would be the same regardless of who it was. Literally, if Maccabi Tel Aviv had turned up and rioted, the Aston Villa fans, regardless of ethnicity or religious persuasion, would also have wanted to seek physical redress of that grief. That's just the way it works. That's human nature. That's not something you should need an intelligence briefing for. So why the police decided to piece of information is absurd. Of course, yes, Maccabi Tel Aviv fans were potentially likely to be hurt by themselves starting shit and getting shit thrown back at them. Obviously, it didn't need to be hidden. It was nonsense. Now, as to the actual bringing up of this story again, I just want to say, particularly to Nick Timothy, who really should rename himself as the far-right, unhonourable member for Israel, frankly, at this point, because he does not represent West Suffolk or any place in Britain. He represents the state of Israel and nothing else, as indeed do the British Board of Deputy of Jews, because they don't represent British Jews in any way whatsoever. They represent the state of Israel, a foreign entity, and nothing more. They brought this back up again because they can't just take the L. They can't be seen to be taking the L. This is their thing. They have to double down and double down and double down, regardless of anything, regardless of the fact that there's a proven track record of racism and violence from this set of supporters, that the stadium in question had already banned a group of foreign supporters the year prior in the Champions League in Villa Park, the fact that Maccabi Tel Aviv had been banned from various places, the fact that British fans had been banned from various places, the fact that the Italian government had temporarily suspended its membership of the Schengen Agreement in order to stop Hamburg fans from attending a game in Naples in the very same competition, in the very same year, all of a sudden it's crazy that we should try and ban this particular group of people, because this had nothing to do with the ethnicity of the people. Jewish people were allowed to attend. Literally, members of the Israeli embassy in London attended that game with Israeli flags, even though they were saying this shouldn't be treated politically. But yet they went there with Israeli flags specifically. This is, and I speak for the parliamentary committee in question here. This was nothing more than a lynch mob. This was a lynch mob. And how, I would ask them this, how can you dress this up as anything other than you doing the Muslim equivalent of JQing, MQing, so to speak? You're literally suggesting that the Muslim population is able to control through some sort of manipulation the outcome of an investigation by the West Midlands Police Force. Are you suggesting that they're a sneaky, nefarious group of people with their tendrils in every corner? You're doing JQing, but for Muslims. You sick bigots.